Good. Thank you, Sue, for coming. Okay.
I'm here. Sorry, I'm just on mute.
Okay, so it's what, 6:01, and it's this is the welcome to the regular joint board meeting of the Rockingham Select Board and the Bellows Falls Village Trustees. It's Tuesday, September 29th, 2020, and we are down here in the Rockingham Lower Theater. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda for routine administrative matters and/or pressing matters that will require ratification at a future meeting? Hearing nothing. Okay. Public comment items on the agenda. I think someone had something. Yes. Yeah, and make sure to say your name for spelling or you know. I'll go up front to show him. Yeah, you can need a microphone, right? You got one. Okay. So
hi there.
Betsy Thurston.
And you can hear me okay? My name is Betsy Thurston. I am the new executive director of the Bellows Falls Downtown Development Alliance. Mary Helen retired on July 1st and I started in August. I just wanted to thank our new members first, Wyndham Windsor Housing Trust, Julie Moore Maservi Design, River Artisans Cooperative, and PK's Irish Pub. So thank you so much. And I wanted to share some exciting news, programs happening this fall, and let you know we have canceled our Shop Local program. We felt due to the strain that COVID has caused for our businesses, we did not want to ask more of them. So instead, we have 2 upcoming promotions, and we've applied for grants for both. One went in on Friday, and one we just got over a week ago. So the grant we received is a Restart Vermont Economic Stimulus Grant for $10,000. And with this money, we are introducing BF Bucks, which Pat has an example of what it's going to look like. So it's a business card sized, brightly colored stock. They'll be worth $5 each. We're going to disperse them through the schools and nonprofits and hopefully other businesses for everyone and families to shop local. The grant money paid for cards and the ad campaign to help drive more traffic to our local businesses. An instruction letter will accompany the card, and families can take it anywhere in Bellows Falls, Rockingham, and Westminster area to a participating business to get $5 off their purchase. Businesses will then submit those BF Bucks, so they'll hold on to them pretty much for the program just through November 15th is when it expires. And they're going to submit them back to BIFTA and myself, and we'll pay them $5 a card. So it's free money to families, free money to businesses, thanks to the state of Vermont and BIFTA. So we do have a disclaimer. We're sorry that not everyone's going to receive one. The grant was $10,000, and we felt it was our duty our duty is to the downtown and businesses in our town. We felt this was the best way for this grant money to benefit business owners that have struggled through the pandemic. So thank you to all who support us. And if you're not a member, please consider joining Bellows Falls Downtown Development Alliance or becoming a volunteer on one of the committees. Check out our site, bellowsfallsvt.org. And we are accepting donations online. You can become a member. There will be more details on the BF Bucks program, as well as another one, the Light Up BF, which is our other grant. And think about liking us on Facebook.
Just in addition, you need the microphone, Pat.
Hi, Pat Fowler, member of the board of BIFTA and Village Square Booksellers. Just as an addition, we decided to go through the school system so we could disperse it out for the families that need it and give them a little plug. And so it'll be good at most of our downtown businesses and some of the ones in Westminster and Saxon Server and Rockingham that have been part of the Shop Local program in the past. But it's a major undertaking to try to do that program, and it was just too much for me to do and the other members of the committee. And again, it's just too hard to ask people to, when they've been closed for months, to ask them to contribute to an advertising campaign. So, and we thank the state for helping us out.
Thank you. Sounds like a great idea. I hope it goes well, and maybe
I have a
there'll be
question.
other monies. Yes, go ahead.
I might have missed it, but when does that program start?
In about a week. It's good through November 15th.
It's going to start in a week and it will expire November 15th.
Yeah,
So
I
we're
thought
trying
the
to roll it out.
Expiration, but I didn't hear when it.
Yeah, we're going
another
to
week.
try to roll it out, beginning of October.
We're just getting the cards ready and trying to get some.
Thanks.
We're trying to get the printer quotes right now. Jesse from Coda Oil is helping us out on the committee, and we have a couple of other good volunteers this year. It's unfortunate that we don't have village printers to just run down the street and have him work on it.
Right. Anything else? Anyone have any other questions? No. All right. That's great. Thank you very much. Is there any other public comment?
Madam President,
I'm sorry, Mr. Mitchell, if you're speaking, I cannot hear you.
Madam President,
Still can't hear you. Yeah. Hey, Sue, say something, would you?
I can hear him. Can you hear
Nope,
me?
Still can't hear her either.
yeah, I can hear you, Sue.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's off.
Hi, Jim.
Nothing.
Ask the president
Make us
why.
read lips, Sue.
Yeah. Definitely can't read Mr. Mitchell's lips. It's not even close enough.
Jim, what is it that you're trying to ask?
Okay, Jim,
That's it.
We can hear you now. If you go ahead.
Okay.
We're not getting any press releases from the Bellows Falls Police Department. There's been a lot of stuff going on in town, and there's not even so much as one thing on the police website about it. Why is that?
What incident are you speaking about?
Well, 2 weeks ago on a Saturday night, a car struck it outside patio. There was a high-speed pursuit. They chased the people into Springfield. The name of the person that did it, nothing was mentioned about it. There's been a lot of activity down at the Waypoint Center 2 days ago. We put both police cruisers and the ambulance there for over 45 minutes. Nothing. We were promised that we were going to have a transparent police department. The only thing I see is the money going out the door, but no press releases. And I signed up for the blog and everything, and nothing has happened.
Okay, I think Shannon has something on that.
I will get an update from the chief of police and get back to you. Okay.
Yeah, no, your mic's on. There you go.
I'll get an update from the chief of police and get back to you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
In addition, I
Yeah.
still don't think that blog is working.
Well, I think, if I may,
Yeah.
Chief Bemis, while he was here, said they were having some bumps in the road with that.
Mhm.
And I have seen actually some press releases that have gone out on that blog. And I think if you maybe gotten an email, anyone's a member of that or a participant of that, maybe should subscribe, I think is what he
Resubscribe.
mentioned. But
Yeah.
he mentioned they were working on it and they were having some bugs to work out.
Okay, so there'll be some further information, Mr. Mitchell. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. And it looks like we are out of public at this point. So therefore, we move on to the first item on the agenda, which is the oil and propane bid awards. And we will need to take action this evening. Oh, we're kind of late. Okay, so everyone has a packet. Susan, did you get anything?
Yes, I got the bids.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Isn't discount oil the one we're using now? Is that correct?
I believe so, isn't it?
It's what we're using for propane right now.
For propane.
Okay.
Well, right now, it looks, according to this, it looks like they're the lowest for oil and propane this year.
They are, and we had talked about it. So we were hoping that a local company, maybe not being the lowest, but we could entertain paying a little bit more to have a local service. But and not making a recommendation to you guys, but they are so much lower.
Right.
Are we going to take some action here?
We
tonight?
should.
Then I'm going to go ahead and make the motion for the Village of Bellows Falls that we award the bid for the heating oil and the propane to Discount Oil.
Need a second?
For discussion.
We have to do separate boards, remember? And he's doing it for the village, he just said. So need a second? Someone?
I'll
want a
second it.
Okay, for discussion, the village trustees have anything else to say?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So who do we get our fuel oil from now?
Dead River.
Right.
Dead River's the fuel oil?
Currently. Now, this would be, so if we vote on it tonight, you take action for tomorrow, right?
Correct.
That works, okay. Okay.
Well,
Anything-
I'm actually going to send the results tonight to,
Yeah, okay,
to
yeah,
everybody
that's
that.
Anything further on this motion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, now the select board needs to make a motion on their oil and propane choice. You want to do the same for
Sure.
them?
I'll go ahead and make the
Okay.
motion for the Rockingham Select Board that we award the oil and propane bid to Discount Oil.
Need a
I'll
second?
second for discussion.
Okay, so discussion, select board.
They are the lowest. What about service? We're having a big complaint about that lately,
Mhm.
about things going to hell and when nobody's taking care of it. So I just was following up on that.
So my recommendation at this time is that we would get into a service contract with a local company just for the service, given that Discount Oil is so much cheaper. And then perhaps next year do our RFP differently so that it will include a service contract, and we will consider the service contract price and the oil and propane prices. And that way we can
Is this the fixed price or variable?
fixed.
It's fixed.
And I just, for your reference, I put all the,
Attachments.
Yeah, I think it's good that we make the public aware that Discount Oil is at $1.35.9 for oil per gallon and $1.29 for the propane.
But of course, that's given to us based upon quantity. It doesn't mean that that's what a residential person would get.
No, I understand that, but
Too bad.
Too bad, right, yeah.
right. And also, for the quantity of the village and the town together.
Mhm.
Right, of course, it's for the quantity of the two entities.
but maybe it wouldn't hurt to look into this in the future, that maybe if you have some residents that are in good standing with their, that they,
That's price fixing, honey.
well, I'm not saying it's price fixing. That's,
They used to do that. People get in trouble for that. My concern was that we've waited too late. I can tell you that I have a fixed price for my oil and I'm paying $1.20 something for oil, for my house oil. And I don't use that much. Especially now that my house is redone, it's much more efficient. But I bought early. So that's the thing. It's like we need to buy in June or July when the prices are lower, especially for New England, since we are stuck having to use home heating oil as long as we haven't changed over to another power source, which of course the municipality still seems reluctant to change over to some other better, lower footprint source of energy. But I think that we should not wait till September to do our bids next year. And of course, whose services? I do have a question. You may not be able to answer it. Who's cleaned our boilers this year?
I cannot answer that, but I will
Yeah.
get the answer for
It'd be
you.
nice to know. If we don't have service from Discount or Dead River specifically, who does our annual cleaning?
So I do know that both of our providers this year did come. They went through, every location, made sure and serviced them.
Okay.
So I assume
They probably got it
that,
done.
yes.
Any other questions from the select board concerning your motion? Yes, they did.
Discount oil. We asked about the service and
Yeah.
where's variable or fixed.
I don't know, I apologize for being late, but last year when the topic came up, we'd talked about, or more recently talked about service. Most homeowners, the same company that provides fuel services their boiler, and so I don't.
So I just, yeah, I was hoping that a local company would be more competitive. So my suggestion is for us to write the RFP differently next year to include a service contract and the price. That way, even though a local company probably won't be able to beat Discount Oil in price with the service contract and being local, it will allow you to make a better decision.
And,
And so what I would like to do now is go out to bid for a service contract. These are our oil and propane prices, but go out to bid and see if we can get a local company and sign a contract before the winter starts.
I'd also like to recommend that we move the date back a couple of months. So we're making our choice in July instead of September. We'll get a better rate. There's no way around it.
I was going to ask when you said this was late. Is it typically done prior to now?
Typically, it's
as
done. It's been done as early as May and as late as July. But we always take care of it way before September,
Okay.
because we know New England gets hit with higher
Yeah.
prices.
Okay.
It was because a staff member I guess made it drafted that we would do it in September, which is the first time we've done it in September.
So it was done in September last year too. And
I don't think so. You sure?
yeah. So
That's way too late.
with the changeover with the public works director, what happened is he left a list of RFPs and dates, and being so short staffed, an interim manager, no executive assistant, I did not review the RFPs and when they would go out. I'm just simply tackling them month by month. And these are first time I'm doing RFPs for a lot of this stuff. So I didn't analyze the calendar. I just went with it.
Yeah, I certainly understand that. I just think September is way too late for us to
Yeah.
to
So
spend
I'm
more money, more tax dollars than we need to.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not putting on anybody at this point. It's what it is. We got to get it done. And I'm sorry, we're still on the select board side.
How did the bids come in on the school board for the oil? I know we tried to do something one year.
Do we have a
together.
motion,
You do.
select board?
You do.
Yeah.
Stefan made it, Peter seconded it.
We're in discussion right now.
And so I believe our
Ready
our
to
rate's
vote?
better than this, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what it was.
Okay. And when did you do that? At what time period?
The school boards don't make the decision about which oil preparer. That's just the monies are put in place in the budget, and then the superintendent takes care of that. So. Further
Okay,
discussion?
select board. So there has been a motion made and seconded. All those in favor would signify by saying aye.
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 Just can't get yourself unmuted.
Aye, sorry, I got muted somehow and
Motion passes.
All right, so we're done with that item. So it is, for the season, it is discount oil. Next item on the agenda is the fixed asset disposition policy review. Was brought here because the trustees felt that maybe it needs some additional strengthening. We didn't look like it's been used since we put it in place in 2017, but it is a joint board item. Therefore, we had to bring it to both boards to look at. If we want to make any changes, we have to agree on them. So, has the select board even had an opportunity to review this policy? Don't even know.
I have. I don't know about anybody else's, but
It's only
I haven't had a chance. Was it sent to us by email or?
Borrow your pen.
if it was, it would have been a while ago. A little while ago, anyway. Last
It's in
week,
the-
August or
it's
something.
in the handbook.
Yeah.
In the policy
Oh,
handbook,
okay.
But it's only 3 pages, and the last one is a
2 pages.
a sheet.
Well, 3 pages.
Well, it's
Yeah.
3 pages with the equipment form.
Well, if I may.
Yeah.
I thought it was good to just bring it up for discussion because we'd had a bunch of items that from a trustee standpoint and a town standpoint, I thought had already been disposed of and that they were sitting up to the Some of it say up to
bit.
tool shed.
Yeah, whatever.
So
Yeah. So we, basically bringing it to our attention again, if we're going to sell something, we need to use this policy.
I was just gonna say, was this policy followed in the last batch of stuff that Andy sold for $10,000? So he filled out the sales sheet?
Yep. So, does anyone want to look at reviewing it, or, I mean, I know the village trustees look at it often. Every place in here, although we constantly talk about selling equipment, the reality is that disposition form only requires the manager.
Right.
And that's the policy the same way. I don't have a problem with it, only that it would be nice that we get a listing of stuff that's going to be sold.
Mm.
We don't. So if there's something on there, I know we've had a propensity around here just to collect stuff because, we can use that for something else. And it never gets used for anything. And then we end up to the point where it's so dilapidated, we can't get rid of it at a reasonable price. So we end up selling it for junk mostly.
Right, but there's nothing in this policy that actually says we should see a list of what items are available.
No, it doesn't say that, but it was just common courtesy. I would think that they would just, inform the board that the stuff's being sold. So be it.
there are some boards, and this board had done it in the past. It was any and all bids. I don't remember the exact verbiage, subject to the approval of the governing board from which the
Right, but that's not what this policy says. So
came from. I understand that's not what it says, but it's what I say that may be something you might want to consider for an addition or something.
Didn't that fluctuate on the price of stuff though?
Not really. Not that I recall.
I thought there was a price limit involved with that if it went up.
So-
wait a second. You done here?
Yep.
Okay, wait.
So I thought what brought this to a head a couple months back was when Bellows Falls sold the engine 2, and there was some folks who thought that maybe it could have sold for more or didn't sell for what we could have got or whatever.
Mhm.
So my whole idea is that I think that, like in that case, I think it would be good. I'm trying to protect the department heads in a way. So it probably would be good for certain items to at least have to be like they go out, they get a price, they get a bid, and that it gets authorized somehow by the board. That way, it would have if that was in place back when that happened, then
Oh, you mean not for selling? Boards authorize funds when they're over a certain dollar figure for expenditures, but not when it comes to selling a piece of equipment. We developed a policy in 2017 that doesn't allow for us to have any input on that.
Right. So what I'm saying right now is a department head, in case of the fire truck, sold. So if a sitting trustee or board member decides that, well, that could have been, it can just save a lot of headache for the department head if they have to get it authorized first. Okay, I've got a bid on it. It's the only one I got. What do you want me to do with it? You want me to sell it for that or not?
Also, what I don't see in this policy.
Then we can't go back on the department head and say, well, we didn't know.
Because you authorized the sale, right. But I also don't see a process for selling things the same way. Like if we're going to use Auctions International, we use that. If we're going to use Facebook, we use that. If whatever it is we're going to use, there's nothing in here that says all things will be sold the same manner, which causes consistency and where we believe we get the best price or the best bang for our buck. Those are things to consider and think about.
But it might not be the best market may not be the same market.
Right,
Mhm.
and it's true.
Right.
That's true.
Restriction is,
There'll be
I
some
think,
flexibility there.
Right, but then we sit here and complain about an item being sold that we thought they should have sold for more money.
That's
And if
why.
we'd done it, we would have done it differently. And that's the constant complaint. So there needs to be more in this policy. So we're satisfied and say, this is what it is. We agreed to it. We signed off on it, and that's how it's going to be.
Mhm.
That's not in here.
We should include that then. I think that's in the best interest of everybody.
I think there's got to be, as Jeff mentioned, some flexibility. It may not be the best market for the particular item. The fire truck is something that maybe we could have had more potential with that. But my main issue was we had a police cruiser that's been sitting up there for almost 4 years, if I recollect, and I thought it was
Yeah.
sold 4 years ago.
Yep. I know.
To find out that, hey, all of a sudden it's sitting up there and still there.
Good time.
So I don't understand how that has anything to do with this policy, but on the town side, I don't find the need to have a hired staff or manager come to the board to request permission to sell an item. When we sold the equipment trailer last year, we asked about how much they would get, and then they sell the device. We're not going to nickel dime a couple $100 for a 25-year-old equipment trailer in hopes that these people aren't doing their job and trying to get the best price for it.
I agree with that. I think that, different markets at different times are gonna, attract a certain amount of money, and we may have an idea of what we think it's gonna be worth, but at that particular time, it may not be.
I mean,
I think the real concern would be that it's in an open market and it's not a private sale that someone could say, well, they're selling it to a friend, or they didn't make it available to an open market.
Mhm.
So for me, that would be the concern to where we could come to the question.
I'm just saying, over my tenure here, there has been things that have been up to the select board and up to the village board, depending on where it came from.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Sure.
I'm not hammering on a fire truck. What I'm looking at is going back. We had some real estate from the village, and it affected the town. That, to be honest with you, if we had gone the first time around, I think we would have gotten more money for it. And because somebody elected to do something different, we ended up selling it for less the second time around, or maybe it was the third time around. I don't recall exactly.
We voted on that.
Yeah, I think.
Since I've been
real
here,
estate
I
stuff has to
don't,
be-
Yeah.
you have to be.
I don't think this is our job to do this.
Okay, so we are talking about this item. So either someone's going to make a motion that we're going to do something about it. If we think this policy, because we have this policy in place, it's here. If we approve this policy and leave it be and we don't do anything else, no further discussions needed. But if further discussion is needed, then someone should make a motion that we're going to review it at the next meeting, or that we're going to have two people one from each board sit down and go over it and make recommendations. We need to do something. Either they, it's like, or get off the pot.
Madam
this item.
President, can I? I think that, having a policy for the manager and the staff to follow is great. There are some cases, and especially right now with the pandemic, where we sold things and it was people drove here, saw it, and bought it. And we would have missed those opportunities. And I think that kind of happens a lot. So I think if you have, department heads that you trust, and we all do try and get as much as we can. And sometimes you could say, well, 4 weeks later, we could have got $1,000 more, but 6 weeks earlier, we might have got half of the price. I mean, it's just hard to tell, but we do make our best effort. So I think having a policy to follow, but having to come back to the boards before we make decisions, it's
Agreed.
that's different.
As I say, I don't think I would like, a request was just to, it's been done in the past. They used to come up with a list of stuff they were thinking of getting rid of and selling. Then, just so the board knows, how you get rid of it, that's in the policy. It's to you guys get the best thing. To me, I don't think we need to play with the
Okay.
policy
All
that
right, so
much.
as long as
As long as the board's
to do
aware
that,
of what they're
that's fine.
selling, and
we've discussed it. We're not going to do anything about it. We'll leave it as is. You have something else to say? Okay. You have something, Wayne?
Yeah, I tend to agree with Gaetano and Peter that for the most part it's worked pretty well, I guess, from over the years. But I just don't think it's fair if we don't change it or change it in some way to continue as is, and then we sell something, and then, a month later, certain members are in here criticizing or questioning, well, what'd you do that for? We could have. So if we're not going to change it and leave it as is, then it should be, that's the way it is. And the trust goes along with it, and end of story.
Agreed.
I agree with that.
Board members change though. They don't always,
Oh, I know. You're right. I
they don't
agree.
always follow that policy of just going along.
Well,
Yeah.
we could remind them as a president or the
Mm.
chair that this isn't our decision, and we trust that they did the best they can, and different times happen. So, another thing in reference to Peter's comment is the idea of knowing what we have to sell is a fantastic idea, like a large inventory. But for example, the things Andy just sold were huddled up there for 20-something years.
I know.
The police truck that Stefan references, like just keeping more track of the things we have for sale and
Yeah.
perhaps updating us. And it was Rob Wheeler that reminded us he still had the police truck, whatever it's
I mean,
called.
one of the things we don't
So a
have is a
lift,
capital plan.
A lift.
Well, a
yeah.
capital plan would
Yeah.
give us things that their age, how long, much longer we have in them, when we have to replace them. All that stuff gives an idea of at least the large equipment anyway.
Well, we have a pretty
So-
good capital plan on our side.
We do on both. We have a list we have to for audit.
Mhm.
So we do have it in the audit book too.
Okay, thank you. Well, it looks like we're done with this item. That moves us on to item
wait.
number 3.
Did
Yeah.
you
Oh,
have
I'm
a-
sorry. You said a couple of comments? Was it in the chat? Yes. Okay.
Casey, are you available to speak? You have your hand raised. Or Sue, did you want to go first? I'm sorry.
No, I'm all set. Thanks. I was just
Thank
going to agree with say what Peter said. It'd be nice to know what the lists are. That's it.
Sure. I'll have the department heads put that together and then I'll email the
Send it
boards a list. So Casey, did you have a comment?
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Madam President.
I'm sorry. There's another person ahead of you, Mr. Mitchell.
Okay.
Yeah, Casey's not
I think the
responding.
mic's on because it's not muted and hasn't been.
Not muted and no speak. Yeah.
Remind
there
them to make sure your mic's on, Casey, if you'd like to speak.
Hmm.
If you can hear us.
Was there anybody else?
Yeah.
Just Jimmy
Mr. Mitchell. Okay, Jim, you can go ahead, I guess, because
Yeah.
Casey's not ready.
Historically speaking, the problem that we had, which really wasn't a problem years ago, was like the police cruisers would go down from the police chief or the police department to the town manager. The town manager wound up with a police car. If not, then it was a police officer that bought the police car and drove it home to Putney, Vermont every day. You know, that's how that system used to work. You know, it was, I'll call it Charge Your Girl Boy Network, whatever you want, but there should be just a little bit more transparency in what's up for sale and when it's for sale. That's all.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Yes, we are working on that.
Well, I was outside of New York City one year when one went by me.
All right, so are we ready to move along? All right, third item is the executive session, and we need it's still on the municipal manager search. We need a motion on both boards separated.
Item number 8, I
Here's one for
believe.
your side.
Sure. I can read it. You know,
That's
Somebody
up
read
to-
it.
I don't have a
You
number.
go ahead, start.
All right.
Jeff's gonna start.
you want us to go first or what?
I'll go.
All right, you go ahead.
I move that the board enter executive session to discuss the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee, but the public body must make a final decision to hire or appoint in an open meeting, and it must explain the reason for its final decision under 1 VSA 313, parentheses A, parentheses 3.
Seconded.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, select board.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board enter executive session to discuss the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee, but the public body must make a final decision to hire or appoint in an open meeting, and it must explain the reasons for its final decision under 1 VSA 313A3.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded to enter executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Hi.
right, we
Deb,
are-
I'm calling you.
Yes, please call me. Thank you, folks. We are now in executive session.
Thank you, everyone.
We are not sure.
Okay, so, what I'm gonna do is
Moving on, we're adjourned. And we have taken no action and we have just adjourned. Thank you very much. Bye.